Welcome to the Financial Freedom Network, where we keep you updated on everything connected to Social Security. So, if that affects you, stay tuned, my friends. So, I've seen some government curveballs in my time, but this one, well, it might just take the cake. So, a few years ago, I had a client, let's call her Mary. She lived in a rural town in Arizona with no internet access, limited transportation, and her only source of income, you guessed it, Social Security. Now, she missed a critical update on her benefits and she went 3 months without a single payment. Why? Because of one tiny paperwork issue. Now, why do I bring this up now? Because something eerily similar is happening right now. And if you don't take action before April 14th, you could be looking at serious delays or even worse, no check at all. So just before we take a deep dive, it's imperative that you hit that like button and subscribe so that you get notified the minute we produce another game-changing video that affects your finances. I promise you'll appreciate it. So buckle up and let's plunge straight in. So let's start with the good news because yes, there is actually some good news. Now you might remember a recent rule that would have forced millions of people to visit a local Social Security office in person to verify their identity if they couldn't use the online system. Not exactly easy if you're elderly, disabled, or you live hours from the nearest field office. Well, you spoke up in your millions, and guess what? They actually listened. Wow! So, after massive public backlash, the SSA delayed that rule's start date to April 14th instead of the original April the 1st. Now, that gives everyone a little breathing room. Even better? Well, there is some even better news. Some people are now exempt entirely. So, if you're applying for SSI, Social Security Disability, or Medicare, and you can't verify online, you can now finish your application over the phone. And that, my friends, is a huge win, especially for people dealing with transportation issues or even health concerns. But now, sadly, for the not so great news. So if you're applying for retirement, survivor's benefits, spousal or child benefits, and you can't verify your identity online, you will need to go into a Social Security office starting April 14th, unless you qualify for a very narrow exception, like being terminally ill or in a prisoner pre release program. And trust me, that's not a process you want to deal with last minute. Appointments are already backed up weeks, and the field offices are still understaffed in many areas. Now, if you're thinking, well, I'm already getting my benefits, so this doesn't affect me, stick around because there's a second, sneakier change coming, and it could impact everyone receiving Social Security, SSI, or SSDI, especially if you're still getting paper checks. So, Trump recently signed an executive order that will stop the federal government from issuing paper checks effective on September the 30th, 2025. So, let me say that one more time because it's very important. No more checks in the mail. Now, what that means is no checks for Social Security, no checks for SSI, no checks for SSDI. Now, after that date, everything has to be paid via direct deposit, direct express card, or another approved digital method. And while that deadline might seem pretty far away, agencies like SSA are already rolling out systems that forces that transition, starting with stricter identity verification and direct deposit updates. So if you're still receiving checks by mail and you haven't switched to direct deposit, you need to act now because once April 14th hits, changing that could mean a trip to the Social Security office, and we already know how messy that can be. Oh, And just to make things even more complicated, the government is launching a new tool called AVS, and that stands for Account Verification Service. Now, this tool automatically checks whether the bank account you're switching to actually belongs to you. Sounds great, right? But here's the kicker. If your benefits are sent to a spouse or maybe a caregiver account, well, AVS could flag it and delay or reject the change altogether. And that's why I'm telling you now so that you can get ahead of this. So here's your action plan. Step 1, set up a My Social Security account online. If you can't do it alone, ask a family member or your local library for help. Step 2, if you need to change your payment method, do it before April 14th. You can still verify over the phone for now. Step 3, if your payments go to someone else's account, try to switch to an account under your name to avoid getting flagged. Step 4, share this video with anyone you know who's still getting paper checks, because most people have no idea this is happening and they could miss a payment if they wait too long. Now, here's your bonus tip. If you ever get locked out of your My Social Security account, and believe me, it happens more than you think, don't panic. Call SSA immediately and ask for a one-time code to reset your access. You don't want to wait until April 13th to figure this all out. Now, these changes are moving fast, and if history is any indication, more are coming. So let me ask you, do you feel like these updates are actually making the system safer, or are they just adding more hoops for people to jump through? Drop your comments below. I really want to hear what you think. And while you're at it, make sure you check out our other videos for more ways to protect your benefits and stay ahead of the curve. So like, comment, and subscribe because you deserve to know what's coming before it affects your wallet. So have a great day, my friends, and stay safe.